All right, guys, welcome back to another video. Thunder Alley here. Tonight, we're just going to be looking at all of the moves that the Chargers have made in free agency so far. It's currently Thursday evening, so a lot has happened, a lot hasn't happened. The first thing I want to talk about is going to be Joey Bosa in a Buffalo Bills uniform. The Chargers released him. Now, from an emotional standpoint, it hurts because when I think of the Chargers, I mean, of course, I think of Philip Rivers and LaDainian Tomlinson, a lot of good players, but as a younger fan of the Chargers, I think about Joey Bosa and what he meant to this team, but he's just struggled with injuries and just play. And you know what they say, I know it's a cliche in football, but the best ability is availability. And I wasn't very impressed with Bosa last season, so he's let go of, which creates more salary cap for other players. Khalil Mack was re-signed in a one-year deal, and the Chargers brought in a running back, Najee Harris. Now, before free agency happened, I talked about I want the Chargers to go out there and to draft a running back, but I'd also like to see them bring in a veteran. So remember the Detroit Lions when they signed David Montgomery, but they also drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And look how that's worked out for them, man. They have one of the most explosive offenses in football, if not the most explosive. So going out and getting Najee Harris, it might not seem like much, but what if Ashton Jennings becomes a Charger, whether they just pick him at their spot or they trade up? I mean, all of a sudden we're looking at Mike Williams is back in the offense, of course, talking about one of the more dynamic rookie receivers in Ladd McConkey in the league. I still can't believe he was a second-round pick. I remember talking about Ladd McConkey before the draft, and he's a Charger. Now, the tight end room, I don't think it was necessarily like bad last year. Will Disley was okay, but I think that could be a little bit better. The offensive line, we're looking at the guards. So you got Zion Johnson at left guard. He's actually expected to play center. Trey Pipkins the third, Jamari Sawyer, that's not going to cut it. The guard position is weak. And that's why I don't get the Herbert disrespect. I get he wasn't the best in the playoffs against Houston, but the Chargers can't run the ball, and their offensive line isn't that great. They've got two good left tackles, but even their center, like Bosman, wasn't that great as well. So they need more help. And it was McConkey and nobody else. Like Quentin Johnson caught a lot of touchdowns, but he didn't do much else. Dealt with drops, and we're talking about there just was nothing. So bringing back Mike Williams, he's a good sort of go route type of guy, contested catch. He's going to at least help this offense a lot. I would like to see Keenan Allen return to the Chargers. I mean, that would be kind of weird letting they cut Mike Williams, they traded Keenan Allen, but if they bring both of them back, Keenan Allen, did he sign anywhere? He's still available. Okay, so Olamide Zakia signed with the Bears an hour ago. So Keenan Allen is still available, so they could honestly bring him back. We'll know, of course, Herbert and Tennessee's things like that. I don't think the Chargers are going to go that route because they don't really need help in the slot. They already kind of got their X type of guy outside. So, but let's get into these moves, man, because I'm sure you guys want to hear my reaction. I'm kind of rambling right there, but so let's talk about Najee Harris. So Najee Harris, you look at his track record; it's all about just durability and consistency. He's gone over 1,000 yards rushing every year of his career. Now, he doesn't have a lot of juice. He's not explosive. But again, we kind of did touch upon it. That's why you draft a receiver. You bring in somebody with speed. A lot of NFL teams, they have their sort of take it to the house type of back, but then they also have in between the tackles physical running. So I think that's what the Chargers were getting at. Also, if you look at Greg Roman, his offenses have always been power run. And as much as I like J.K. Dobbins, he's not a power run type of guy. Gus Edwards is, but he couldn't stay healthy. So it just was a Band-Aid type of fix. The Chargers didn't have a lot of cap space last year, so they tried to patch it together with Edwards and Dobbins, and it just didn't work. And I don't think anybody thought it would work. Now, Dobbins did have his moments, but he also missed 4 games. So I think just Najee Harris gives you consistency. He's not going to be enough to just transform this into a very good running offense, but it's at least a start. Him, better guards, and another speedy back would definitely do the trick. Now, you look at the depth chart for the Chargers at their running back. They've got Kamani Vidal, who I thought was okay last year. He's got some potential. It's not Haskins. There's nothing really special there. So just like outside of McConkey, outside of Najee Harris, they're going to have to get something there because you're not winning a Super Bowl without 2 backs that can carry the load. Like, it's just not going to be a thing unless you got Saquon Barkley. Then yeah, but there's not very many there's no Saquon Barkleys out there besides Saquon Barkley, right? And like Derrick Henry, guys like that. Funny enough, both of those players got released last season. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You think that's not much, but like, name me some other running backs that have gone 4 straight years of over 1,000 yards. You're not going to be able to. I mean, he's the 14th player ever to do that in the history of the NFL to start a career. 263 carries for 1,043 yards. I mean, it's not the best efficiency, but he's also with Pittsburgh, right? A team that didn't have a threat to throw the ball down the field. The Chargers certainly do with Justin Herbert. I think it's going to work out. I mean, this doesn't seem like much, but as soon as this happened, I was very excited. I just didn't get to a video because I wanted to see more moves. Let's take a look. What else did the Chargers do? One more thing, actually. I want to go back to what I said about the lack of run game. So the Chargers were 24th in rushing success rate last season. The offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, talked about building, quote, a great running game for Justin Herbert, quote. That didn't happen. You're not winning in the NFL without a run game. It's not happening. Whether you're Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, you need to be able to run the football. The Chargers just have not been able to do that for some reason. Khalil Mack, 1 year, $18 million fully guaranteed. Dante Jackson signed a 2-year, $13 million contract. Jackson, his problem is consistency. But you look at Christian Fulton, he had a good year for the Chargers last year. I don't know why Jackson couldn't do the same, especially in a Jesse Minter scheme. We're talking about one of the better, at least in my opinion, the better defensive minds in the game. I get he kind of just got here, but I think he's going to be a head coach within the next couple of seasons. So I think Jackson's going to have a big time season. And even looking at defensive back, the Chargers don't have a need there. You could argue they do, and that's fine. But I mean, they've got Tariq still played well. I like what I saw out of Cam Hart, like the young rookies played well. Benjamin St. Juice is not the best in the world, but he's good depth. Now Dante Jackson, Derwin James, Aloy Gilman, Desir Taylor, you could be doing a lot worse than that. Elijah Molden, I thought, kind of got up to a really fast start, looked good in camp. Not even camp, because he kind of came out of nowhere. Like, he was signed last minute. I mean, that was all the way back in the summer of last year, so I'm trying to remember like every little detail. But yeah, the defense is not the issue. The defense for the Chargers is really one of the best in football. It actually was they gave up the least amount of points in the NFL last season. It's just the offense. They didn't have any sort of run game. The blocking was subpar at best, and then they didn't have any playmakers outside of McConkey. It's going to be guys on the outside. I mean, Ladd can line up anywhere, but I like him in the slot. And then I like Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson on the outside, but they still could use one more guy. Like, Keenan Allen doesn't make sense. Maybe a speedster, though, or something. I mean, yeah, there's just not enough for Justin Herbert to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. We'll see what else the Chargers did, though. I know they re-signed Bradley Bozeman. J.K. Scott, they re-signed him. Taylor Tart, they re-signed him. Good depth piece. I don't know if he's like a consistent rotational type of guy. I think the more snaps he gets, like, the less he'll perform. I could be wrong, but $5.5 million. It's not going to be that much, though. The actual value will be less. Yeah, Tart's just a rotational piece. I do know that the Chargers lost some good free agents. We talked about, of course, Joey Bosa. They also did lose, I believe it was Poona Ford. I don't have it in my notes, but they lost Poona Ford. I think he went to the Rams. I thought he was really good last year, like really, really good. So that sucks that happened. And then in terms of the guard position, Aaron Banks ended up going to the Packers. Will Fries went to the Vikings. So now we're looking at Kevin Zeitler, Brandon Scherf, and Mekhi Becton. I don't really want Becton. I think the only reason he kind of played well last year was because he was with the Eagles. They've got the best offensive line coach in the game. Brandon Scherf is like, I think Kevin Zeitler makes sense. He's going to be 35 this weekend, but he already is familiar with Greg Roman's offense. And Zeitler was pretty good last year, if I'm being honest. I think he's a huge upgrade. And then let's see what else happened. So, yeah, I mean, Zeitler is literally listed right now as the number one remaining free agent. I can definitely see why. Josh Palmer went to the Bills for $12 million. Josh Palmer is making $12 million a year. What the hell am I doing not playing football? I'm kidding, obviously. I actually like Josh Palmer, former third-round pick for the Chargers. He's okay. It's just like the Chargers just have too many okay players. They need to get more talent here. They need to get big-time names. And they just had, like, they did get Najee Harris. I'll give them that. I don't know about the free agency. I mean, I like some of the moves they've made, but this is a division with the Kansas City Chiefs in it and the Denver Broncos. The Raiders are only going to get better with Pete Carroll now. If they hit on their quarterback in the draft, they're going to be better. So I just don't think there was enough, but I'm not entirely sure about the cap situation. The Chargers might have not had much, but like, I mean, Herbert is making money, but like, I don't think this team has enough to compete for a Super Bowl. I think they can be a very good playoff team, but like winning it all, I mean, I don't know about that, man. Let me know how you guys feel, though. But there still is the draft. Like, don't get me wrong. There's still the NFL draft. I think the draft's more important than free agency. You don't really win Super Bowls through free agency. You win them through the draft. So if the Chargers hit that, then I'll be very, very happy, right? But yeah, until next time, guys. Thunder Alley. Peace.